When I watch these polyglots, which is never, I feel very, very uncomfortable with the depth of ignorance of it all, and what seems to me like a bottomless pit of stupidity and arrogance. So today we're going to look at two polyglots among the most famous, or so I am told. Not my scene at all, not my peers, not my colleagues, not even related to what I do. Let's start. Hello, welcome thee back, and today we're going to listen to two polyglots speak in French. I'm going to tell you what I think of it. I wanted to make another polyglot video because there's a lot of re-education to be done on YouTube, because it's all sadly very, very fake. And without calling the individuals fake, because we're not name calling here, we are calling the practice fake. It's fake, 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 as anything has ever been fake. So polyglotism is a fake practice because it lacks any definition. These polyglots, or polyglottism, doesn't answer to any definition or standards. I recently made a video in which I explained that a language has as many as 54 separate skills, and I compare it to the Mariana Trench. It's a very deep trench. There's depth to it. There's complexity. And the issue is that these polyglots navigate at the level of a puddle, but they still claim proficiency. So they never say, listen, I just dabble, I'm an amateur, I do this for a laugh, don't do what I do, I'm just having fun. On the contrary, they take themselves very seriously. It may be okay for you to have a low level, because you're not telling anyone else what to do. Students are allowed to have a low level. That's why they're students. But it's not acceptable if you imply that you are knowledgeable in the language and that your system of learning is a valid one, especially not if you can't produce the results, which we'll prove in a second. One of my issues with polyglots is you can't just take two skills out of the 54 and say, yoo-hoo, look at me, I speak all these languages. And you certainly can't pose as a guide and a legitimate authority. There is an issue of depth here, but there's also the question of their linguistic background. They don't think of language with the necessary professional rigour. They're extremely self-forgiving and don't have the frame of mind of a linguist. To put this into context in a way everyone can understand, these are not people who can show up in a high school and sit in a classroom with native speakers of 11. They'd flunk all the essays. Their use of language is far too naive and restricted. And contrary to what you might believe, I never discover a polyglot and say, aha, got another one. It gives me a definite feeling of unease. It's like, I could compare it to certain types of horror films where you witness certain unnatural scenes. You know, you think, this is horrible, you know, life shouldn't be like this, life is too beautiful, you know, you don't quite know what dark corridors the protagonist has been through to get there. When I watch these polyglots, which is never, I feel very, very uncomfortable with the depth of ignorance of it all, and what seems to me like a bottomless pit of stupidity and arrogance. So today we're going to look at two polyglots among the most famous, or so I am told. Not my scene at all, not my peers, not my colleagues, not even related to what I do. Let's start. So I have my second computer hooked up here, and I'll press play, and I propose we listen to what they have to say.
On peut finir avec français.
Well, that's a mistake. He said, on peut finir avec français, we can finish with French. This works in English. So this person who is a world expert in language learning doesn't know that when you speak of languages in French, it's le. Everything always has to be named in French. It's the French, the Russian, the Portuguese. Donc on peut finir avec le français. If he was my student, I'd tell him, watch out, don't apply the rules of English to French. It doesn't work that way. These are two different systems. In terms of mistakes, I would say it's a big mistake. Especially if you claim to be an expert, it is a big mistake. It really is. Do I understand him? Of course I do, but that's not the point. The point is to pass yourself off as an authority, and I've just heard one sentence and it's no good. So on peut finir avec français, that was a mistake.
La langue que tu parles.
What? La langue que tu parles? There's two issues. First of all, I don't know where this idea is leading to, because he just said, the language that you speak, the intonation was off. I'm a native speaker of French, right, and of English. I don't know where this information is going to. What I'm saying is it's unnatural. You don't just throw out this idea like that, you know, with the wrong intonation. The language that you speak. Then No one ever taught him that the A is supposed to be pronounced A. If he was my student, I'd tell him, watch out, because French is a bit like mountains. It has to be very sharp, tip of the mountain. A, A, E, U. It's very sharp always. I bet you like that. So he's rounding off his A. It's odd, it's just bizarre. It's no good. That's the second mistake, 2 mistakes in 2 sentences. Okay, let's listen to some more.
Le mieux.
Après l'anglais, c'est le français.
Oh, he says, la langue que tu parles, le mieux. The formulation of his question was so unnatural. Normally you'd say, which is the language you speak best? As a learner of languages. So he said, the language you speak. It was odd. Very strange formulation.
La langue que tu parles, le mieux.
Après l'anglais.
Oh God, I didn't even get that. That's what I didn't understand. I didn't even get his pronunciation, this fellow. La langue tu parles. And he sort of went. I didn't even get that he was making the sound E. A world-renowned expert who can't do the sound E. I find this worrying. La langue tu parles. I'm exaggerating, but I didn't get what he said. So he's just asked the other fellow, what's the language you speak best? And the other fellow's going to answer all of them. No, he's going to say which one he speaks best.
Anglais, c'est le français.
After English, it's French. Well, if he's a native speaker of English, that would make sense, wouldn't it? So after English, the language he speaks best is French. Why not?
Oui.
Après l'anglais, c'est le français. Ok. Et après le français, c'est quoi?
Et après le français, c'est quoi? So he just picked up on the other guy's correction, and I think he just figured that, okay, it's le français, it's not just français. So they're not at the stage where they can use register. I found this question to be very informal. Après français, c'est quoi? It's very... too informal. Too informal. You have to remember, this is a peer-to-peer conversation between professionals. They are bound to a certain register, a certain way of speaking of languages. And I've always said that these polyglots have no control over register. They can't do it. So he's just thrown out a teenager-sounding question, Après l'anglais, c'est quoi? It's horrible. It's no good. And also I've noticed that the younger of the two doesn't have the ability in French to express surprise. He can't do it. So he sort of opens his eyes and he doesn't know what to say. He doesn't have those tools. I said, après français, c'est quoi? He can't do it. He can't say in a natural way, ah ouais, vraiment? Ah oui, tiens, oui. Oui, évidemment, oui. Et alors? Enfin, he can't vary the tone and the pitch, and he doesn't have those tools. They're at such a shallow level. They can't do it.
Le japonais.
Le japonais, ok.
Et après,
And that wasn't natural at all. So he's saying after French, he speaks Japanese best. Le japonais, okay. It just doesn't sound like the natural surprise you'd express in French. It's not the way you'd say it.
Le japonais, ok.
et après le japonais, le chinois mandarin.
Now he speaks like a robot. He really does speak like a robot. Et après le chinois, là, mon frère. He reminds me of these wartime programs on the radio, on French radio. Les troupes allemandes ont pénétré en ville de Paris, le ministre plénipotentiaire. He really does speak like a robot, the elder of the two. It lacks all substance. It's not lived. The French they're using isn't lived. It's really artificial.
Et après le japonais, le chinois.
Did you hear that? Do you find that natural? Et après le japonais, le chinois. It was odd. He speaks like a robot. It's just strange. 54 skills in a language, that they're just using 2 of them. The skills that suit them best. Why is he saying okay in an English way if the conversation is supposed to be in French? We say ok, ok. Ah, je vois, ok. Ah oui, intéressant.
Ok.
Et
Monsieur
ensuite l'espagnol. Bon, c'était plus ou moins l'ordre.
Ah,
What?
ok.
Et
Monsieur
ensuite l'espagnol.
Et ensuite l'espagnol. Right. Do you find this a natural way of speaking? I don't. Et ensuite l'espagnol.
Ok.
Et
Monsieur
ensuite l'espagnol, je crois. C'était plus ou moins l'ordre.
I didn't get that. Do you find that normal? I've been doing this for 4 decades and more. I cannot understand this man. I think he just said, and after this it's Spanish. And then he said something really weird that wasn't natural at all. So he said, Et après l'espagnol, c'est plus ou moins ce que... I almost want to put the subtitles on.
L'espagnol, je crois. C'était plus ou moins l'ordre.
What? It was more or less the other one. That's what he said. Do you find this normal? I don't. I've been putting this off for 2 days because I didn't want to expose myself to the horror. What did he just say? After Spanish, it was more or less the other one. It doesn't make sense, neither in English nor in French. What they do, these people, is that they throw out words. The problem with this other fellow I reviewed, I think he's Italian. He has an Italian-sounding name. He claims to know French also. And I can tell that they don't understand the impact of their words. So they use words, but they haven't digested the words. So they make up sentences that, once you look at these sentences, they make no sense.
Ensuite, l'espagnol, je crois. C'était plus ou moins l'ordre.
Et ensuite, l'espagnol, c'était plus ou moins l'autre. After it was Spanish, have you noticed, I can't even remember his sentence. I've listened to his French sentence 4 times about Spanish. I can't remember it word for word because it's so unnatural, I can't remember it. C'était plus ou moins l'autre, je crois. It was more or less the other one, I believe. This is going to be dreadful.
Je dois dire que toi, je suis très impressionné.
Je dois dire que toi, je suis très impressionné
par ton niveau dans toutes les langues qu'on a utilisées.
That was a grammar mistake. I can't repeat it because it's so unnatural. The phrasing is so unnatural. I can't repeat it. I've just listened to it. I can't repeat it. I don't know what he just said exactly. He said, je dois dire que toi, je suis très impressionné des langues qu'on a discutées. Something like that. It was grammatically incorrect.
Impressionné par ton niveau dans...
Par ton niveau. He's using these rising tones that are really odd. Par ton niveau. That's why I said it reminds me of wartime radio.
Toutes les langues qu'on a utilisées.
Toutes les langues qu'on a discutées, that's just a mistake. I have students who don't make this mistake. You don't discuss a language, it's a collocation that doesn't work. We have discussed a language. No. He doesn't even mean that we've discussed the topic of language. He means that we have spoken in these languages. So, je dois dire que je suis impressionné par toutes les langues qu'on a discutées. No, it's a phrasing that's above his level. I know what's missing. I could help him, the fellow here, if he ever wanted to take classes with me, but he's an authority, so why would he learn with me? So anyway, that was a mistake. It's dreadful. The up and down rising, the tones, the phrasing, the prosody, it's all wrong.
Ouais, tu parles très très bien.
Tu parles très très bien. He managed to say that without a mistake.
Avec une prononciation tout à fait, enfin, beaucoup mieux que le nécessaire.
The arrogance! You can't see my screen, sadly, but I just paused it. And he just ended his sentence on... It's like a WWE wrestler, you know. You know, the heel and the, what do you call him, the face and the heel, and he's obviously the heel. And he reminds me of Rick Martel, the wrestler. Beaucoup mieux que le nécessaire. And it's a plain grammar mistake. It's much more than the necessary. It doesn't bloody work. And I can't put this on YouTube. I can't do, what do you call it, a screenshot and put his face on this video. I'd love to share this face. I just have it paused on his face here. I've been putting off the horror for 2 days. Dear me, it's worse than I thought.
Très impressionné par ton niveau dans toutes les langues qu'on a utilisées.
What's the other one? He's giggling. The other one's giggling. The first one's not finished his sentence, and the other one... God, this is hysterical. These people are worldwide authorities, and you should see the comments on YouTube. Oh my God, I wish I could be like you. Oh my God, it's so amazing. The second coming. I wish I could speak 7 languages. God, what they really mean is I wish I could dip my toe into 7 puddles, because they really don't know.
Ouais, merci. Tu parles très très bien.
Tu parles très très bien, and he speaks with an air of authority, bordering on arrogance.
Avec une prononciation tout à fait, enfin, bon.
Why can't he finish this easy sentence? You speak with a pronunciation that's very... what do I mean to say, really? Why is he looking for words here? Why can't he finish this easy sentence? Une prononciation tout à fait... Let me rephrase my thoughts, you know, that's what he's doing. He started with a very easy sentence. Well, how shall I put it? Well, say it. Pronunciation is good. I find that your pronunciation is good. Je pense que ta prononciation est bonne. That's what he meant to say. There's no thinking about it, if you know your French.
Beaucoup mieux que le nécessaire.
Beaucoup mieux que le nécessaire. Well, okay, I like to take this apart because there's what you hear and there's what I hear. Beaucoup mieux que le nécessaire. So he's considering that there is what's necessary and he's above. So there's the necessary French pronunciation, right? But then he's far above. I mean, it wasn't even necessary to be this good, but you are this good. That's what he's telling him. I consider that, you know, there's what's necessary, but you're far above what's necessary. It's funny because I couldn't understand the fellow, but apparently his pronunciation is really good. Oh, he speaks with an air of authority. This is brilliant.
Parce que les gens se préoccupent de leur accent.
Mais les gens se préoccupent de leur accent.
Je dis toujours, c'est pas grave, mais...
Je dis toujours, c'est pas grave, mais... I find his accent to be really weird. It's sort of Canadian, American Canadian. It's a very unique accent he's developed, this one, the older of the two. He's... je dis toujours, c'est pas grave. Well, it is, because you know what he's completely missed is that French is such a predictable language in terms of pronunciation. I don't know if he means specifically for French you shouldn't worry about your accent, or for all languages you shouldn't worry about your accent. Is this a philosophy? Is this just specific to French? Is French the type of language that you can just speak any old how? I don't know. French is so predictable. It's odd to say that, oh, you can speak any old how, don't worry about it. I don't know what his expertise is exactly, because I would say that pronunciation is the first thing you need to study. You really need to get your pronunciation under control, because what will happen is that your first language will get in the way and you'll crystallize errors, and it is impossible, close to impossible, to correct a mistake that's been crystallized in your mind on a subconscious level. So this is why I always start with pronunciation. It is, on the contrary, very important. Then again, I realize I'm not speaking about a peer. I'm speaking about a YouTube personality, so he has the right to be wrong.
Parce que les gens se préoccupent de leur accent. Je dis toujours, c'est pas grave, mais toi, tu as une belle prononciation dans toutes les langues que tu parles.
Merci.
So I don't understand. He's opposing two clauses here. Because you see, that's also what they do, these polyglots. They make up sentences that seem very impressive, but then when you take them apart, like he's opposing two ideas because he put the conjunction mais between his two sentences. So on the one hand, people are always worried about their accent, and I say it's not necessary, but... So he's contrasting this idea with his next thought, and then he says, but you have a good pronunciation. So how is he linking these two ideas? And this is why I say they have no control over the language. Words just come out of their mouths like farts. They don't weigh the importance of their words. They don't weigh the message they're getting across, you see? They have no measure of the impact of their words. You can't build a sentence that says, I always tell people that pronunciation doesn't matter, but... you have a very good pronunciation. How are these two ideas related? Why are you placing the conjunction mais in between? You're opposing two ideas, but you're really not. On the level of the message, it makes no sense.
Toi, tu as une belle prononciation dans toutes les langues.
He means in every language. Toi, tu as une belle prononciation dans toutes les langues, not just in French. How would he know that? You can't just say you have a great pronunciation in every language. What's the norm you're going by? Just take the example of English. English is a lot less standardized than French is. You see, so what are we talking about? You have a good pronunciation in every language. Well, you mean to say you just heard the guy speak 7 languages and that's it. Your pronunciation is fantastic across 7 languages. I have the ear to comment on this. I have the ear and the authority to rule on this. It's absurd.
Tu as une belle prononciation dans toutes les langues.
We don't really say une belle prononciation. It's not a natural collocation. You don't say a pretty pronunciation, une belle prononciation. You say une bonne prononciation. I'm quite surprised that he didn't know this. Would you consider it a mistake if I said, oh, you have a pretty pronunciation? Of course you would, if you speak English. There are certain words that don't go with others. And he just made a massive mistake here.
Et j'allais te dire, par exemple, pour le danois, et j'aime bien le danois. Et tu as dit que les Suédois...
See, he can't build a sentence. He just put 3 mini sentences together to build a long one, but all the ideas are completely unrelated. He can't think in French. He really can't. I can tell. No native speaker would ever speak in such a way.
Merci.
Listen to this. I'm going to translate.
Et j'allais te dire, par exemple, pour le danois...
I was going to tell you, for example, for Danish...
J'aime bien le danois.
And I like Danish. How are the two ideas even related?
Les Suédois, ils ont souvent des critiques.
And you said that Swedish people often have criticisms about Danish.
Envers la langue danoise, mais...
Envers la langue danoise, a very unnatural way to say it, by the way. The Danish language.
J'ai regardé un serial ou série, je sais pas comment.
Now he's on to, you see how he's just put 4 ideas back to back that are completely unrelated. Now he's on about some series he watched about the Danish language or in Danish. It's odd. I find it so hard to follow.
Les Suédois, ils ont souvent des critiques envers la langue danoise, mais...
Tu as dit que les Suédois, ils ont... why is he... That's a massive mistake. Well, it's not a mistake, it's just stylistically horrible. There's no reason to repeat the word Swedish with a pronoun. Les Suédois, ils ont. It's a sort of thing you unlearn when you're quite young. Stylistically, it's horrible. Les Suédois, ils ont des critiques. Hein? It's just horrible. Stylistically, no good.
J'ai regardé un serial ou série...
J'ai regardé. He doesn't even know where to place the stress on French words. J'ai regardé. You never say that. You really never do. The stress on syllables in French is very predictable. How can he not know this? And he claims that French is a language he speaks best. And he doesn't know the word for TV series. Série, serial, whatever. You know, I'm far above that. I don't need to know the word for TV series in French. Would it shock you if I claimed to be an authority in English? I didn't even know how to say TV series. Would it be shocking?
J'ai regardé un serial ou série, je sais pas comment.
Why is it not flowing out of him? Why is he going, j'ai regardé une série, voilà. Let it flow. J'ai regardé une série en français, j'ai regardé une série en danois, et puis c'est tout, c'est facile. Let it flow.
On se dit en français, serial, un Netflix qui s'appelle Pas des hôtels.
Ok.
À Netflix. Sur Netflix. Why doesn't he not know this? You don't say à Netflix, I watched a series, serial, série, à Netflix, at Netflix. Non, sur Netflix on dit.
Serial ou série, je sais pas comment on se dit en français, serial.
Je sais pas comment on se dit. He's using a reflexive. Je sais pas comment on se dit. I don't know how it's said. If I translate it literally, I don't know how it says itself. He just said, je sais pas comment on se dit en français. Voilà. I'm far above that. Don't trouble me with meaningless details.
Je sais pas comment on se dit en français, serial. Un
Serial.
Netflix qui s'appelle Pas des hôtels.
Okay.
Pas des hôtels.
Et j'aime...
This is hysterical. So he just said, well, I watched a series on, I don't know what it was. You see, have you noticed how I'm not memorizing anything they say? Because it's so unnatural the way they speak. It doesn't echo in my mind. It doesn't stick. Usually you just memorize what the person said, but it's so unnatural I can't even follow it. And so he just said, I watched a series, and the other guy's literally going, oh. he's repeating the word. It's like saying, you know, I watched a series called The Sopranos. Yeah, Sopranos. He's just repeating the thing, trying to put emotion into his French, but he doesn't have the tools. It's, oh God, it's pitiful.
Et c'est fantastique.
It's fantastic. Because they don't have the tools to express these sort of things, so he has to put in emotion, but you don't speak French with emotion. You can't just take the codes of prosody of English and bring them into French. And the example I always give my students is that in English you can say, oh, how wonderful to see you, it's been so long, and haven't the children grown? Oh, wow, oh, it's so lovely. You can't say that in French. You can't say bonjour, oh, je suis content de vous voir, oh la 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 la. And he's going to say fantastique, c'est Fantastic. You don't speak French that way. You're supposed to know words. You can't replace words with theatrical emotion. It doesn't work that way.
Et c'est fantastique. Et j'aime bien écouter le danois. Je ne peux pas parler le danois.
J'aime bien écouter le danois, so he didn't make any mistake in that sentence, bravo. But he did make a mistake in the following one, because he said, je ne peux pas parler le danois. We used to speak French in this way. I'm not going to throw out a number. I don't know, in old grammar books anyway. So nowadays you would say, je ne sais pas parler le danois. So I don't know how to speak Danish, instead of saying je ne peux pas, which is a lot more related to permission. Je ne peux pas, I'm not allowed to. Or I don't have the physical ability to speak Danish. You would normally say, I don't have the knowledge to speak Danish. Je ne sais pas. There's been a change. About 30, 40 years ago it changed, you see. You have to keep up to date with these things.
Moi, je comprends, je sais pas moi, 60% de ce qu'ils disent.
Yeah, that was a bit too vague to let it slide. You can't just throw out that you understand 60% of Danish and for me to accept this. You can't do that. Because this is also anti-linguistic. You can't just say that you understand 60% of a language. It's not true. Depends on who's speaking, what context, what type of conversation. You can't just throw out that number. Oh yeah, 60% of Danish. Oh yeah, I understand 60%. Whoa, why 60? What are the words that are missing? What does it even mean? What I'm saying is that it means nothing on a linguistic level, and he's supposed to be speaking to a peer. You can't just throw out, oh yeah, I understand 60% of German. Yeah, no problem. No, it doesn't work that way.
Parler le danois, je comprends, je sais pas moi, 60% de ce qu'ils disent. Si jamais quelqu'un veut pratiquer le danois, pas des hôtels, pratiquer le danois, pas des hôtels, pas des 60%.
I really do think he said 61%, which is extremely precise. I understand 61% of Danish. I really do think he said that. His accent's very challenging for me to understand. I think he said 61, 60%. So he went from 61% to 60. I really do think he said that.
Ce qu'ils disent, si jamais quelqu'un veut pratiquer
Why does he say si jamais? Si jamais?
le danois, pas des hôtels, pratiquer le danois.
But it makes no sense. So he's saying, I can't speak Danish. I understand 60%. Now he's making this massive statement that doesn't fit naturally in the conversation. This is why I say they can't use French naturally. It's not a normal conversation. It's not a fluid conversation. You don't go from sharing anecdotes to big life statements, and if ever anyone wants to... Imagine this in English, the same thing in English. And if ever anyone wants to practice Danish, well, they should watch this series because it's really very good. He's making a godlike statement. It's odd, it's bizarre, it sounds super strange. And in the same breath he just said, I can't speak Danish, I understand 60% of it, but then he still says that if anyone wants to practice Danish, practice, I understand, well, I don't know, speaking it, producing Danish. He suggests the opposite is to watch a TV series. It makes no sense, and I don't even know what he thinks. I don't think his words are connecting to what he's thinking, or I don't even know if he can think in French. I know he can't. It makes no sense. Once you take it apart, it makes no sense. Oh, I think I know what he means. Practice Danish in the sense of get your practice in or something. But pratiquer in French means something else completely. Okay, pratiquer, non, ça veut dire producing French, or Danish, or whatever.
Pas des hôtels, c'est fantastique. Beaucoup d'humour.
Comédie, horreur.
Comédie.
Comedy? Oh, that's not a sentence. You just threw out two words. He didn't build a sentence. I don't like this. Comedy? No, it doesn't work that way, fella. It doesn't work that way. No. It's all posing, isn't it?
Comédie, ouais, mais c'est sensationnel.
And it's weird because he missed the other guy's French because I understood. He said beaucoup d'humour, so he ended his description of that Danish TV series by saying there's a lot of humour, and then the other one goes comédie. He just said it's humour, it's humorous, and so he had to re-explain. How could you miss that word? You're an expert.
Comédie, ouais, mais c'est sensationnel.
Comédie, c'est sensationnel, ok.
Comédie sensationnelle.
Ok. Tu as entendu de clown, clown,
Ooh, that was a massive mistake.
de clown, clown.
C'est sensationnel. Comédie
Ok.
sensationnelle.
Ok. Tu as entendu de clown.
That was a massive mistake. Have you heard of clown or clown or whatever he's talking about? Must be Danish. That's a massive mistake. Then again, these people are worldwide authorities, so who am I? He can't even say, have you heard of this series? So what he's doing is translating literally from English. Have you heard of clown? Tu as entendu de clown? And he had to pause before saying it. Tu as entendu de clown? That's a massive mistake.
Tu as entendu de clown, clown. C'est une série danoise. Très...
Why do they do that? C'est une série danoise? There's nothing to think about. It's a Danish series. C'est une série danoise.
danoise. Très,
Non, je connais pas.
très drôle. Ok, très drôle.
Ok.
Moi, je...
Moi, je vais chercher.
Ouais, non.
Mais les Danois, ils ont un sens...
He didn't even let the guy finish his idea. The poor guy was about to describe a TV series he knew of, you know, and then the other guy just interrupted him and said, oh yeah, I'll look for it. Oh no, Danois, I know all about Denmark. On the level of communication also, they're not saying anything. I don't know if anyone's understood this, but I can't say genuinely in French or within this French conversation what information they've exchanged. You see, so they make words, they make noise, they produce French words. On the level of communication, it's very, very poor. They're able to fool the world, say French words that are unnatural and contain no meaning. They have not yet said anything.
Moi, je vais chercher.
Ouais, non.
Mais les Danois, ils ont un sens de l'humour.
He always does that. He repeats the noun with a pronoun. Danois, ils ont... And he did this with the Swedes also. Les Suédois, ils disent... Why does he do that? Has no one told him it was a mistake? Kids are allowed to do that, not grown-ups.
Les Danois, ils ont un sens de l'humour beaucoup plus développé que les Suédois, je dois
What?
dire.
Oh, ouais.
The other one agrees. This is hysterical. He said the Danes have a sense of humour that's much more developed than Swedish people, I must say. Danes, as a whole, as a nation, are much funnier than Swedes. There's so much arrogance and they're patting each other on the back and they both think they're brilliant and they both think they're fantastic and that they've achieved something, and it must be wonderful.
C'est vrai, c'est vrai.
C'est vrai. He's actually laughing at this. C'est vrai. That was hysterical. That was such a funny thing to say. Oh oui, c'est vrai.
C'est vrai, c'est très drôle. Moi, j'écoute beaucoup de comédiens.
I have no clue what he just said. I have no clue what he just said. It makes no sense. I'm telling you, they're throwing out French words. They cannot build a conversation. He said, c'est très drôle. What is c'est? It's very funny. What is very funny? C'est très drôle. What's the subject of your sentence? The guy before just said Danish people as a nation are funnier than Swedes. And then he says, ah oui, c'est très vrai. C'est très drôle, as if he was speaking about something specific. This thing is very funny, but what is this thing? What are you talking about?
C'est vrai, c'est très drôle. Moi, j'écoute beaucoup de comédiens danois.
I think he means Denmark is very funny. What's strange about this sentence is that the intonation he's using, c'est très drôle, he's building a new topic here. He's not reacting to the other guy's topic. He's actually building a new topic. So he's on about Denmark here, and he's telling us that he listens to a lot of Danish comedians. I bet he's getting a lot of the comedy show. I bet he understands most of it, judging by his French.
Mais bon, voilà.
He didn't say
Moi,
anything!
j'écoute beaucoup de comédiens.
He didn't say anything! You can't just get away with it! He said, it's very funny, I listen to a lot of Danish comedians, anyway, and that was it, that was the information he shared.
Beaucoup de comédiens danois. Mais bon, voilà.
That was it. Mais bon, voilà. What? They can't build a sentence. They can't build a conversation. It's fake, 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 fake.
On finit maintenant.
That was such an unnatural way of speaking. Oh, fini maintenant. He's sick of it. He's under pressure, the poor fellow. Oh, fini maintenant. We finish now. Imagine if I said that in English. So, yeah, I listen to a lot of Danish comedians. Yeah, well, anyway, voilà. We finish now. What? That was odd, wasn't it?
Je crois qu'on a parlé beaucoup. So, guys, I hope everybody enjoyed.
On a parlé beaucoup. That was such a strange sentence. On a parlé beaucoup. First of all, you would say on a beaucoup parlé, so beaucoup goes in front of the verb. Seriously, this is awful.
There will be obviously subtitles. I'm sure we have put all that stuff in there. We've broken down the video and all this stuff.
Okay, that was awful. I don't know. Keep on believing. Let's keep the myth alive. Polyglots know what they're doing. My name's Chris. I teach French. I don't know. I'm not mocking the people. I'm just mocking the practice of polyglotism. It's fake, fake, fake. It will never exist. It does not exist. You can so easily disprove once someone says they speak 4, 5, 6 languages. It's just the depth of a puddle. It's the depth of a puddle. It's all fake. It's not natural. They can't do it. I hope this was useful. It was worse than I thought. Bye.